Hi there! In this video we will be taking a look at some light bulbs and we will be comparing them to other types of bulbs. Some older, some about the same age, to say like that, and some cheap ones. So let's see how this goes. So, being of a certain age, for me, a light bulb means this. The old standard ones, incandescent with a normal filament, highly inefficient, they get really hot, but these were the bulbs. So for many years of my life, nothing else apart neons basically existed, but neons mostly in industrial spaces. These were at home. So the light and the shape of these things is what I'm used to, or was used to, because now I'm trying to go with LEDs, but yeah. Anyway, still think of these things. So, as many of you know, at a point in time this came up, which are halogen. Basically they are like the bulbs in your car, but just put inside of a similar shape as the old ones used to have. If you are looking at the bottom of the bulb inside and you see this stem, I have no idea of a better word for it, it kind of is similar. Then they went with this metal support on the side, and that honestly just looks like kind of a standard car bulb. I don't know, H whatever or something like that. They are more efficient than these things, so they output more light for the same amount of power, and this is a 100-watt one. This will put a crap ton of light compared to this 100-watt bulb. Standard compared to this halogen. But I still don't really like them. They don't look like these thingies. But then again, for many years we had the fluorescent ones, those spirals or L's, E's, whatever, who knows what shape they had. Then we started to get these LED lights, which they are honestly kind of a pain, because they really output light only from here, and the direction of the light is kind of limited. As you can see, not much will be going in this direction. So depending on your light fixture, these look bad. If you have them exposed in a transparent light fixture, they look atrocious. They are really efficient, don't get me wrong, but they look bad. This one, for example, and I'm going to make a short math for each of them. This is how much lumens per watt? 100 lumens per watt? Yes, 100 lumens per watt, exactly. So 15 watts, 1500 lumens. So 100 lumens per watt. Let's keep that in mind. I think I will write on all of them and see which is the most efficient, but I do not like how this light a room. Yes, obviously this one is also a warmer white, a colder white, 4000 kelvins. And yes, the dispersion angle 200 degrees, so 180 would be only from this point up, 210 degrees lower in this, and 10 degrees lower in this direction. So basically from here to here you get light. That sucks. Anyway, so there's that. I don't like this. I like this, but we will not be getting this because they are too inefficient. These are a better version of this, but I don't like them. So that to aside. This is just a cheap Chinese no-name. It's extremely weak, but seems to be lasting for a lot. When our daughters were growing up, we used this bulb at night as a night light for a few years, and it did not die. But it's really weak. The light from it is really weak, but it did the job, so it will be saved for presumably not even future use, just as a memory. That's nice. But as you can see, somebody was smart, found or actually invented this type of LED shape, the long ones. They actually, if you look under a microscope, they have tiny LED chips, one next to the other in series. And realized, hey, we can use the not that one, let's get that out of the way. We can use the old shape. Yes, this is a bit smaller. This is not a standard. This came in various sizes of the glass bulb itself. This is a smaller one, the only one that I still have with the filament. They decided, hey, we have machines to build this. Why not put LEDs exactly in those machines somehow? And they managed to do it. So the bottom of it just a little bit longer, this stem. Then this, as you can see, they just extended it. Basically the same shape, just longer. Some wires were coming out of there, now they are coming out of here. Smart. I like that they reused something that was already there. This, when it's lit up, kind of resembles this. Not perfectly, because this had the filament at one level, not going... Actually, they were this type that had filament going up and down, but they were not common in my country. This shape of filament was common in my country. So it's not quite like this, but this, when it lights up, it kind of looks similar to this, which this one doesn't, for me at least. So there's that. Now let's put that to a side and get back to the main topic here, which are these Osram lights. I bought them as an idea that good brand, presumably good products which will last for a good while, and stupid me only read reviews after buying them, and many people say that they actually fail within a few months of beginning to use them. Well, ask me in the comments after time passes and I will tell you if they did fail on me or not. If I also remember, I will actually write a comment myself when one of them fails. So I actually bought 3 Osram variants, and this one that I will talk about in a moment, it's not an Osram. This one, 7 watts of power consumption. It should be similar to a 60 watt all-style incandescent. Not a lot, but yeah, it's there. So it doesn't consume too much power, doesn't give up too much light. Let's see if we are given the lumens. We are not. Be back in a second. Oh, we are. 806 lumens at 7 watts. So we are higher than 100 lumens per watt. That means that this bulb is actually more energy efficient than this one. That's good. Let's see if we get something even higher than that. Let me write the number on it. Be back in a second. And I'm back after some calculations. Where is this one? So it has 115 lumens per watt. This is not really that efficient, but it's more efficient than this one. The smart thing about it is that it has a remote, so you can control it 100% light, 75%, 50% and 25%. You cannot change the color, so it's only warm white and that's it. But it is dimmable with a remote. This is why I bought it. And it is also dimmable by shutting it off in a sequence. If you just on, off, on, off, on, off, you will cycle through these modes. So there's that. Let's get a better look at it and see how it looks, how it feels, and if I'm happy about it for the moment. But obviously the real test will be in time, and again, ask me in the comments and see what I will tell you. The remote itself, it's the standard cheap Chinese one with the battery at the bottom. Nothing to write home about, but hey, and I think you can also, these are just to go quickly through some set levels, and you can go from plus, minus, off or on if you are too lazy to use the switch by, I don't know, by the door or wherever you have that switch. So this thingy, yes, for me it looks decent. As you can see, it has some insulated wires in there, which the cheap Chinese, which lasts again for a few years, does not seem to have. So we can see some wires down there, but they are willy-nilly inside the glass. For this they went with insulated wires. I guess that's something good. And down in there we can see some electronics, and somewhere in there we also have the infrared receiver for this remote. And many people tell in comments that this actually only work up to about 1.5 meters, this remote. And depending on where your light fixture is, if this is standing up and somewhere next to your ceiling and you are using this from below, you have a good chance of this not working well at all. If it's hanging down like this and you are below it, it has a way bigger chance of infrared light getting to the electronics and actually telling this what to do. So if you buy something like this, make sure you have a good angle towards the electronics inside. For me, they will be something like this, basically at the same level from where I will use the remote to it. So in theory, it should work, but before ending this video, obviously, I will show you how it works and if it works well. Anyway, I like this thingy. Hopefully, it will not break as other people say. 2700 Kelvin, in theory, it should be kind of the same color of light as old incandescents. Now let's get to another one, which is more efficient. So 75 watts, similar to a 75 incandescent, it consumes 7.5 watts, which is okay, and 1055 lumens. I did a quick calculation, 140 lumens per watt. So this is highly efficient, much more efficient than this one and the others in the group. So this thingy, as long as it doesn't fail too quickly, considering the prices of electricity, at least in my country, but probably all around the world, are just going up as crazy, this is a really nice light bulb to have around. But as you can see in here, wires are willy-nilly in there without any insulation on them. So presumably they put some insulation on the other bulb just because it has a lot of electronics in it, and they were afraid of not somehow creating problems on that board. Otherwise they kind of look similar, just much more energy efficient. You can see the PCB deep down there. The cheap Chinese no name, kind of, you don't even see anything deep in there. So who knows? Works by magic, presumably. Another one. Whoa, look at this bad boy. So this is similar to an old 100 watts, 11 watts of power consumption, 1521 lumens, and the efficiency 138 lumens per watt. So basically this one and this one are the most efficient, in case you are interested in that. They both have warm white light. For me only that is good, honestly. I don't like the other type. This, presumably it will not fail quickly, again should be a really good bulb. Hopefully it will not fail, but we will see. As you can see, the filaments themselves, the LED filaments, if we can call them like that, are much thicker and there are more of them compared to this. Presumably they should be driven with less power because they have more phosphorus on them, but who knows. And the last one, it's a Flair and it's a vintage bulb. It has 100 lumens per watt, so it's not that efficient, exactly as efficient and as this standard LED bulb. This thing I bought it because it has 2000 Kelvin warm white. So that means that it's really yellowish and really warm, and where I'm going to use it, this will kind of matter. I will use it in an old light fixture from when I was a child, used in my parents' and grandparents' house. So this will bring back memories of all the yellowish and used for years light bulbs. This is exactly like that from the factory. I really like it. This is it. So now what I'm going to do, put these bulbs in this thingy and see how they light up, and I will give you a feedback if I like them, which one of them I like the most, and then I will start using them in the house, and you can ask me in the comments whatever you want or need. So now we have this one with the remote, off, on, off, on. Let me go further, at about 2 meters or something like that. Yep, the remote isn't working at all. I need to be, you can almost see my shadow in here where I need to be for this remote to actually work. As soon as I go a bit further, again I think you will also, yeah. So in a light fixture like this, let me see if I'm directly straight on it. Yes, if I'm directly straight on the bulb, I'm at 1.5 meter in, but I'm directly on this line and it's still working. If I go to a side just a little bit, bye bye, it will not work anymore. So if you use it in something like this that's blocking the light, the air from the remote all around, you can just control it straight. Otherwise it will not work. Yep, so there's that. As for the light of it, come on, turn on. Yep, it's what I'm used to it. The old, a bit yellowish filament incandescent light. With a tiny bit of flicker induced by, obviously, the LEDs and whatever method they used to control them. And you can see the dimming. 25, and can we go below 25? Yes, we actually can. This is the minimum. Below that it's actually off. So off, put a different bulb in and be back. This is clearly more light. Presumably my camera will compensate for that. On the phone I cannot really lock in anything, so there is not a real way for me to show you which one produces more light. But from what I see around me, this one obviously produces more light. Same yellowish color, good. And if I look into it, maybe I can somehow show you. You get somehow that filament feel. Let's replace it with a really powerful one. Just something else. These do heat up on the glass itself. Not as much as old filaments, obviously, but they do heat up. More than these ones, at least from what I can see up until now. Much more light. Same temperature of color, yellowish, I like it, but much more light. This is also good. Hopefully this will last, because this is crazy bright. It's really bright. At 11 watts to put out as much as an old 100 watt bulb did back in the day, this is good. Let's put this in. Oh, this is yellow. This is yellow. I think you can see that this should be pure white. This has zero yellow in it. My hands are not this yellow. This is a yellow bulb. And when I look at it from far, it looks like an old bulb that I don't know how to explain. Some of them, some days they looked like they were not being driven to the max, because I think we honestly, during communist years, we were not getting the full voltage that we should have yet. got. So our bulbs were basically driven a bit lower than they should have been. So they were even more yellowish than they should have been. And this brings me to that. I like it. Yellowish, really yellowish. It will look good in my old light fixture. And this is a dumb bulb. I cannot adjust anything about it. And now that V-TAC in the same light fixture, it looks weird, honestly. They are good bulbs. I have one of these in my house in a few light fixtures. They work really well, so no problem with them whatsoever. I genuinely like this particular V-TAC brand. They have cheap bulbs that actually last a lot and are decently efficient. But the shape of this particular LED bulb model for me just doesn't cut it. I don't like them just illuminating through here. Lots of plastic in here. They are really big, really long. Compared to this one, they output the same amount of light. I guess you can see the difference. Doesn't make sense to have one like this, if this will last. But again, I will see that over time. Hopefully they do last, because I know already this lasts a lot. So if I throw away money at this, maybe I'm better looking at something that I don't like to see that much, but at least I don't throw money at it, because in these days, honestly, every cent is beginning to matter. Let's put in this halogen one. In theory, this should be outputting a lot of light. And it does. And by being a halogen at 100 watts, it actually outputs more. Oh, but it throws away heat. Jeez, how much heat. Okay, off you go. I think it's overheated already. It throws away a lot of heat. That's why they are really inefficient. But it outputs more light than this one, which is similar to a normal 100 watt filament, but this halogen actually outputs more light than a normal 100 watt filament. But still consumes a lot of light, power for that light. Now let's see this little guy. Yep, decent amount of light, still see the flicker and feel the heat. Geez, this, oh man, a lot of heat. You can see the filament in there. The flicker, because our electricity is a sinusoid, I think it's in English pronounced. So it goes through zero from moment to moment. So the bulb, it actually pulsates really quickly. 50 Hertz, I think that's the frequency. So, this one is already really hot to the touch in a minute or so. Even hotter than this one was, because this one actually has two bulbs, one inside the other. They just went with that. They had machines from car bulbs and just put it inside of this, which were made for this type of bulbs. Reusing. I like that they are even reusing these things for LED now. So yeah, that's about me rambling. Now let's just throw in the China no name that doesn't have a marking on it whatsoever anywhere, that we used for many years, and presumably and hopefully it's still working. And it is. And it's again a yellowish light, but kind of weak. And look at this flicker. It's worse than any of the others. So I'm guessing we are only using half of the 50 Hertz frequency. So it's kind of bad. But when you look at here, the camera is somehow compensating for that. Anyway, there's that. I will keep this for as a memory. Now, nothing more that I can say. Already a long video with, honestly, a huge amount of rambling. These are lots of different bulb types. Which I like the most, let me tell you. The most I like, that's some good camera work right here, moving the tripod by sliding it on the floor. I like this. I wish this were somehow made to be as efficient as LEDs, but still look like this. Impossible, so they are just a memory. What comes close to them are this type of bulbs. different shape of the LED filaments, that depends on what you have. For old light fixtures, get something like this. It really looks old, vintage, perfect. So that means this Flair LED Vintage. Not too efficient, but looks nice, depending on what you need. If yeah, this is middle of the road, I don't like how it looks, it consumes lots of power, bye bye. This I don't like at all how it looks, but it's quite efficient, lasts a lot. Yeah. Let's see something else. This Chinese no name, still working, bravo China, for this one at least, not for many other crap products that you do. This one, which one of them is it? 7 watts. This is the adjustable one, the dimmable one with a remote. This is not a really efficient bulb, but it has the bonus that it has a remote. And here it is if you are interested in it. If you want to buy something like this, I will tell you in the comments if it did last a lot or not, if you ask me. I like it. For some situations it's good, but you either need to just have something in here to power it and fully be exposed, so this works from many angles. If it's covered in something like this, so it's mostly covered, you need to only use the remote from the front. From the side with it will never work at all. And from the front I expect not to have lots of distance. Although, let me test that and I'll get back to you in a moment. Just tested it, maximum 2 meters, even pointing it directly at the bulb. If I'm from the side, if I'm really close, it still works, as you can see. But let me show you from a further distance. Bye bye now, nothing works anymore. And I need to really switch it to the front to start working again. If I'm really close, yes, it works even from the side, somehow. So there's that. That's the minus of this thing, but could be useful in some cases. And then we get to the stars of the show, which are these 2 boxes right here. 75, like an old 75 watt, but it consumes only 7.5 watts for about 1000 lumens, which is great. And this one consumes, camera focus please, about 11 watts for 1500 approximate lumens. These two are basically 138 lumen per watt and 140 lumen per watt. They are kind of the same, these two, depending on if you need less light or more light. The thing about them is how much they last. And obviously, again, I will test that in a few months, years. We'll use them, and you can ask me, because there is no other way to do this. I cannot somehow speed up the test. Impossible. There's that. If these things actually do last more than people say, they are nice bulbs, highly efficient. They look good in many light fixtures. They look much better than these stupid things. But yeah, we will see. So that's about it. These are the bulbs that we played with. One more box in here. Hopefully you enjoyed this rambling video. I tried to not really explain, to just tell you my thoughts about various type of bulbs and what they mean to me and maybe to many of my age. And yeah, that's about that. And now the real test, real life test begins. I'll be using this, my family will be using this, and hopefully I didn't throw away money. They are beginning to be quite cheap, so they are basically, I don't know, some of them are $2.50, some of them are $3, some, I think this one is actually more expensive, $6 or $7, something like that, but still quite cheap, honestly. From what the LED bulbs were back in the day, they were $20 to $30, who knows what. They are way cheaper now. So yeah, there's that. But still, this thing for me steals the show. And there's that. See you in the next video. Bye.